Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a great day so far, and welcome to today's video where we are back with another "You do not need that" video, where I'm going to be talking you out of all of these new tempting makeup releases. If you are on a no buy, if you are trying to stick to your low buy, if you're trying to save money or cut back on makeup spending, this is the video for you. So without further ado, let's get started. So first up, let's talk about this Chanel Sublimage concealer, or Correcte les yeux, to give her bougie name. Now this concealer, it's Chanel. It's got this beautiful looking glass packaging. It sounds very luxurious, and it comes with a very luxurious price tag, okay? This is £85. Pardon you, excuse yourself, how dare you? You know, I think the fact that it's Chanel and it has this beautiful looking package is very enticing. It's very tempting to believe that this is going to be 4 times better than a concealer that's like 20 odd pounds. It's going to be so much better. It's going to take me back to the 90s. I'm going to look 15 years old when I apply this. It's going to be better than every other concealer I've ever used. Of course it is, because it's £85. And what's going on here if we're not paying for something wildly better? But what's going on is it's Chanel and it's a glass package. That's really all that's going on, in my opinion. Now, as always, I'm honest. I'm not going to blow smoke up your bottom. I'm not going to lie to you. This is a nice concealer, but it's a nice concealer. I've got nicer concealers. In my review, I did Huda Beauty's concealer on this side and the Chanel on the other, and there was literally no difference. They're almost identical concealers. The Huda Beauty cost £24. This one cost £85. So you do the maths. It's a lot more expensive for really no reason. And if you watched my review, you will also know that this beautiful looking glass packaging is an utter shambles inside. It doesn't look very luxurious now, does it? No, it looks a mess. It looks hideous. It's a nightmare. And approximately £30 of it is already all over the lid, my desk, my hands, and slightly in my hair, if I'm being honest. So you're definitely better off without it. I beg you to save £60 and get the Huda instead, or any of the other sort of, you know, £20 to £30 concealers that are exactly the same as that one. I beg you, you'll make less mess if nothing else, and save quite a lot of money. Next up, let's talk about possibly, for me, the most tempting product on this list. It's the Natasha Denona Retro Glam eyeshadow palette. I know a lot of you are going to be extremely tempted by this, extremely tempted to break your no buy or your low buy, because we've been waiting for this palette for like 5 years. It feels like that. I don't know if that's accurate, but that's how long it feels like. In fact, it feels like 30 years, if I'm being honest. This is what we wanted when we got the original midi retro, okay? This is what we wanted. We wanted the larger size of the mini retro with greens and the pinks. That's what we wanted, this colour story. But here's the thing, it's too late, because we've already bought very similar. We don't need this one, okay? We don't need this one. For a start, the exciting bit about this palette is what's actually already contained in the mini retro. This is literally just more of what's in the mini retro, and ultimately on the eyes, the mini retro does what we want this one to do at a third of the price. If you have the mini retro, if you have the full-size retro and the full-size glam palette, this is the retro glam after all. It's basically those two married up with a bit of the mini retro. If you have all of those already, you've definitely got this covered. If you have the glam midi and you have the mini retro, you've 100% already got everything that's in here. If you picked up the Sydney Grace by Mel Thompson recreation, or not recreation, I guess prediction, because it came years before this one, of what should have been in this palette, you've got way better than what's going on here. Okay, so don't be tempted by the couple of greens in here and the fact that this is what we asked for 5 years ago. We've already got it now. We've got the mini retro, we've got the glam palette, and so we don't need this one, you know? How much of this is actually really that exciting? It's really just a few greens in here. You can already find those in your Mini Retro palette. You can already find those in your Sydney Grace Tiny Marvels palette. You can probably find those in multiple singles that you already have in your desk, because if, like me, you've been searching for perfect greens for 10 years, we've collected quite an array of them at this point. But failing all of that, if you in fact don't have the Mini Retro and you in fact don't have the MIDI Glam palette, and this is everything that you've been looking and waiting and dreaming of, then I have not seen anywhere where this states it's limited edition. It looks to be a permanent palette. We can wait for permanent, we can save, we can wait until it's easy, wait until it's comfortable, wait till you have the money spare and reward yourself, wait for a sale. I think there was one day left of the Sephora sale in the US where this was still going to be 20% off. If you missed that, or you're not US based like the rest of us, there will be sales to come. Black Friday's around the corner. Holiday season around the corner. Ask for it for Christmas. I was telling you, I'd rather someone else buy it for me than me buy it for myself, okay? That's an option in a month or so. Do not buy permanent makeup for full price. That's what I always say. Next up, let's talk about these Dior holiday blushes. I have a video of these blushes on my channel, trying them on the cheeks. I really love, again, I'm not going to lie to you, I really love the lighter shade, but let's think about this. These are just blushes. This is a sort of, you know, a reddish blush, doesn't really work on my skin tone. This is a peachy blush, okay? Please don't try to tell me that you especially need this peachy blush, okay? Because the embossing is almost gone. Yes, you know, it's a nice pretty pattern, but as you can see, it's almost gone. And I've only used this a few times, and I'm not being funny, it's a peachy blush, okay? It's a peachy blush with a pattern on it to make us buy it for Christmas, okay? It's definitely not groundbreaking. It's definitely no different really from the other peachy blushes that you already have. As far as this one, I think if you have a light to medium skin tone, you'll be able to use it, sure, but not without its challenges, not without being a bit careful, not without it potentially being a little muddy or patchy on you if you're not very, very careful. If you have a deeper skin tone, this one's going to work way better for you. But again, I would expect you already have lots of blushes this sort of colour. It's very close to the Pat McGrath Paradise Venus, for example. There's lots of shades like this in the Nars blush palettes. I just feel like these are very skippable, very passable. You may have seen the first images of them and gone, oh, they look beautiful with all the holiday and the twinkles and the embossing. It was all very tempting, but take a deep breath and look through your collection. I promise you, I guarantee it, you've already got those. Now, next up, let's talk about these new Benefit highlights. Now, I know we're better than this. They're not going to catch us out with this. I know that not one of you, right, is considering spending your money on these, right? Promise? I know it. I know we're better than this. We've evolved. But just in case there's one of you left considering this, we're going to talk about it. So there are two new shades of these Twinkle highlights. Let's talk about Sugar Plum. It's purple. It's a purple. It's almost the exact same colour as my jumper. Okay, it's a purple highlight. So unless you are Papa Smurf, I don't know who's wearing this. Okay, I don't know who this is going to flatter, whose skin tone this is going to look beautiful on. Other than if you're a Smurf, then I support it. Okay, this is going to look stunning on you. It's going to be glorious. It's going to bring out your eyes, your skin tone. It's going to be stunning. Okay, buy it. Any Smurfs watching, it's got your name on it. Anyone else, you're telling me you need a purple highlighter, are you? In the stupid box that's really annoying that you can't really properly get a brush in there? I don't think you do need one of those, if I'm just being honest. And as for the Honey Bee, I mean, hello, like a nude golden light highlight. I know you're lying to me. I know you're lying. You're lying to yourself. Not a single person needs this. Do not even try to tell me you don't have 10 exactly the same as this. This is like, we've got one that's a madness and another that is complete waste of everybody's time and energy. I'm actually fuming that I'm even taking up a couple of minutes of my video to talk about a honey coloured highlight in 2022. Okay, we've been doing that for 20 years now. We've been seeing them. We've got them coming out of our... You're going to have to do better than that. Hasn't even got a picture on it and there's not an animal in sight. So thank you, Benefit, for making it so easy. Next up, slightly more challenging, it's these new Tom Ford Shade and Illuminate Highlight Duos. I understand it. These are beautiful to look at. They're very pretty. It's Tom Ford. Everybody gets very excited. Tom Ford. It just sounds sexy, you know? Tom Ford highlighter. You know, sounds sexy, looks very sophisticated, very beautiful. We know Tom Ford make, you know, gorgeous, skin-like, beautiful, bring out your true beauty type of products. So I understand the temptation is real here, but let's talk about these. These are $90. $90. Don't have the price for the UK yet because they're not available here. So we've got some time to like calm down and cool off and take a, you know, a cold shower before they arrive to tempt us. But $90 is the price tag. Here's the thing, no one needs two, no one needs a duo. If these had been in singles and been half the price, I'd have been far happy about it. But $90, and they are ridiculously different in tone to each other. So the two that you get in this duo, you're only going to be able to use one regardless of what your skin tone is because they're so far apart in shade. One is either going to be too light for you or one is going to be too deep. You'll be able to use one out of the two that you've paid $90 for. That's the first thing. And if you're telling yourself, well, yes, but I'm going to use the other one as a blush topper. No, you aren't. You're fibbing. And we don't fib to each other here. This is a safe space. We're honest, we're open. Do not fib to yourself. You're going to use one of those shades as a blush topper. No, you won't. You'll continue to use the blushes that you love in your collection, and maybe you'll use one half of the $90 product that you paid for to get two, of which you can only use one, okay? These are not blush shades. These are highlighters. One is too deep for you, or one is too light for you, regardless of which one you picked up. And none of them really are blush colours that you would have purchased, especially not for like $45, because that's how much you're throwing in the bin. If you can't use both of these as they are intended as highlighters. I read on the Tom Ford website, they actually suggest to use one of these for like bronzing or for like contouring and the other for highlight. Please tell me whose face is getting bronzed or contoured with any of these colours. I mean, again, maybe these makeup items are really being invented for like other species. Maybe it's because Avatar is coming out. That's what's happening. It's because there's a new Avatar movie. That's what was going on with the Benefit Highlight and possibly with these as well. It's all making sense now. But if you truly, really need a highlighter, or you're in the market for a highlighter, maybe you honestly haven't found one that you love yet and you're still looking, I would suggest you buy one that you're going to be able to use for at least half this price. Okay, there are stunning highlighters. Chanel does beautiful highlighters for like half the price of this, and you'll be able to use all the product that you paid for. Imagine that. Crazy. Okay, next up, this product. I have never had so many requests for a You Don't Need That video before about a specific product than I have this one. And this is the Ethereal eyeshadow palette from Makeup by Mario. I had so many messages, comments, tags. Please talk me out of this, Charlotte. Please talk me out of this. Here's the thing. This is easy. We can easily resist this one, okay? Let me just say, this is very beautiful. It looks gorgeous. It's a nice little size. I get all the temptation, especially if, like me, you are a basic makeup person. You love your neutrals. These are the sorts of colour stories that really grab you. However, if you are said person who loves neutral, beautiful, shimmering, natural shades on the eyes, look me in my eyes and tell me you don't have 10, 15, goodness knows more already of this colour story in your collection. You don't have the Natasha Denona Glam palette, Bieber. You don't have any of her minis, like her mini Glam, her mini Bieber, her bronze palette. You don't have the face palette, the Glam Glow palette, the face and eye palette. You don't have that already. Do you have perhaps Pat McGrath palettes that have neutrals in it? The quads, some Charlotte Tilbury, maybe the Pillow Talk Dreams palette, for example, or her large Pillow Talk palette. Maybe you have Venus in Fleurs from Pat McGrath. There are so many I could continue forever talking about how many neutral eyeshadow palettes you already have that will look identical to how this one does on the eyes. And you know that, right? You know that. You know that you already have this times literally like 15. This is certainly not a groundbreaking palette. Is it probably the most tempting from Makeup by Mario so far? Yes, it is. I think it's his best looking. I haven't tried it yet, not available here yet, but I think it's his most appealing visually eyeshadow palette that he's made to date, mainly because it's the most versatile. You know, he released his Master Mattes, then he had his metals. This is like a bit of everything in one, more versatile. That's why we're kind of going, oh my God, Makeup by Mario's released a palette that's got, you know, mattes and shimmers and glitters and everything in one nice sized compact palette. But you've got carried away, okay? You've forgotten all of those other palettes that you've already got that actually already serve that exact same purpose and on the eye will look exactly the same. Okay, we know we love these colour stories, these neutral, natural, everyday, office work, friendly, appropriate, easygoing, natural, soft glam, but that's why we've already got 50 of them and we definitely don't need another one. And this is expensive, okay? It's a diddy little midi sized eyeshadow palette, but it has a whack of a price tag. It's almost as expensive as the Natasha Denona midi sizes and you're getting a lot less and probably, I would suggest, less quality for your money, okay? I would definitely suggest saving up and waiting and getting something that you really love that you don't already have, because this, you definitely already have it. And don't lie to me. You know you already do. And lastly, but by no means leastly, especially at this time of year, we're going to be talking about advent calendars. Advent calendars, every advent calendar, I don't discriminate. I'm talking the Dior advent calendar, I'm talking the Sephora advent calendar, I'm talking the Charlotte Tilbury advent calendar, I'm talking the Ulta Beauty advent calendar, I'm talking the Cult Beauty, I'm talking the Look Fantastic, I'm talking the Feel Uni. There's advent calendars coming out of our ears, okay? And they are all a complete waste of money, okay? You don't need any of them. Please stop telling yourself that you need an advent calendar that's like costing you £150 that essentially is full of samples and gifts with purchase that you usually get for free. I'm sick to death of seeing these advent calendars that are priced at like £130, £150 and they claim to contain £700 worth of product. You absolute filthy rascals. No, they don't. No, they don't. For a start, none of the products that come in the advent calendar come in their packaging, in their boxes. They're whacked in, they've been unboxed, opened and shoved in a drawer in the advent calendar. So already we're taking the value down as to what it would have cost if you were purchasing it. Second of all, the vast majority, I mean, I will admit, there are ranges when it comes to advent calendars of how bad and how outrageous they are with their claims of what it's worth versus what you're paying. Some are an utter travesty of a joke. Some actually contain some full-size products. For a start, half of them don't even have 24 days. So I don't know how they are legally even allowed to call themselves an advent calendar without having 24 drawers. How dare you? That is a lie and a travesty. So there's already a bit of a range when it comes to how many drawers we're getting. That's number one. Secondly, I see people like justifying the cost of these advent calendars because I'll use it, I can use it. I'll put next year, I'll fill it with gifts or chocolates for my children to use. But did you do that? Or is it just sitting in your loft or on your bedside table in a kind of like, is it slightly weird that it's sitting there and it doesn't really look that great of a decoration? Because I know I did that with the Molten Brown one. I thought it's too beautiful to throw away and that's what I'm going to do. Next year I'm going to put chocolates in it and my children can have it, but they didn't. It's still just sitting there and I didn't put anything in it and it's just sort of sitting there, not being thrown away, collecting dust. So that's what the reality is of what will happen. You won't reuse it. it's too annoying. You'll just go and buy a dairy milk or a Lindt one like you do every year. But the vast majority of these advent calendars contain maybe like 12 drawers or doors, and of those 12 they might have 2 or 3 full-size products. Would they be the full-size products that you would choose to purchase with your money if it wasn't in an advent calendar? Probably not. You may already even own those full-size products because typically they're the ones that the brand have left over and maybe they're expiring and they're trying to get rid of them in the advent calendars. And the rest of it is literally samples that you usually get for free with your order, or like it's a gift with purchase. If you spend over a certain amount, you get these little minis of everything, and they're trying to call that £700 worth of value. I'm sorry, it's almost always all of that is free. Who's paying £700 for this, and when is that happening? That's my question, because nobody is. It's actually worth maybe like £30 because of the 2 full-size products that are in there that no one wants, that are left over, and that's why you're trying to get rid of them in the advent calendar. So it's time for them to go on sale anyway. So they're worth like £30. The rest of it is worth nothing because no one buys samples. They just are given away. So it's literally worth nothing. What are we doing? Why are we still doing this? If it's a brand you love, like the Charlotte Tilbury advent calendar, and you're a big Charlotte Tilbury fan like I am, I love Charlotte Tilbury, I would never buy her advent calendar because I literally have everything that's in it already. I already own all of it. So why am I paying a load extra to get it all in an advent calendar? Because it's pretty and shiny and Christmassy. No. Let's stop with that. So there you have it. Those are the most tempting, the most highly requested products that you guys wanted talking out of this week. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, and I'd love to see you in the next one. Otherwise, take care for now. Bye.